The American Office, or The Office, an American Workplace, or The Office U.S. is my favorite show ever made. If you know me in real life, I am constantly referencing and talking about The Office ad nauseum. I even love it to such a point that I made a parody of it with my friends that didn't really turn out the best.
Okay, so our reception is right over here. Oh. This is Jacob. Jacob, this is Montgomery. Montgomery Burns. You get it? You get it?
I don't get it.
Come on, The Simpsons.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, come on. The office is this way.
So it's safe to assume that I love The Office, but I wanted to figure out exactly why that is. I also feel like there's a stigma out there that seasons 1 through 3 are the only ones that count, or anything after season 7 is bad, which I don't think is true. Personally, I think there are some truly bad episodes in the first 3 seasons, and I think there are some pretty good ones in 7, 8, and 9. Think of this video as my pilot episode for every episode of The Office reviewed. There's only 6 episodes in season 1, so don't expect anything grand or long, but hopefully this will give you a taste of what the rest of the series will be like. I am really looking forward to this. So, join me. I will be reviewing every single episode of The Office ever. I will be giving them a grade from A to F, and I will be reviewing this season as well. As I said, there are only 6 episodes in season 1, but there's a lot to analyze here. So here we go, on to episode 1.
1, 2, switch!
Episode 1, Pilot. An introduction to the staff of the Scranton, Pennsylvania branch of Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. Now you might be wondering how I'm going to be reviewing these episodes. Well, you can see on the bottom here, there's a quote from the episode that I find the most funny. I'm also going to be giving a fun fact before I start reviewing the episode. So, for example, fun fact. This is the first appearance of Jan Levinson Gould. For the longest time, I thought her first appearance was in next season's The Client, and now I will be giving my review of the episode. The pilot episode is very different from what The Office would later become. This episode is very slow and dry, and it's obviously a beat-for-beat ripoff of the British counterpart.
Damn it!
Okay, hold on. Judge is in session. What is the problem here?
You put my stuff in Jell-O again. That's real professional. Thanks. This is the 3rd time, and it wasn't funny the first 2 times either.
Right, that is it. Slow down, you move too fast. Solomon's here. All part of the job. What's going on?
Put my stapler inside the jelly again. That's the 3rd time he's done it. It wasn't even funny the first time.
It was almost like Steve Carell was trying to do a Ricky Gervais impression. He wasn't quite Michael Scott yet. The actors looked dirty on purpose, almost like the director told them not to shower for a few days before filming. There are a few iconic moments and lines, and this show's characters are introduced very well. However, any upside like that, for example, the writing or structure, cannot necessarily be praised, as this is just a redo of the British pilot. I loved Dwight and Jim's dynamic though, and the acting is perfect and is what made this episode. I also loved the ending. Overall, not a stellar episode, but I can't really say it's bad either. This is the perfect example of a B- episode. An episode that, well, not great, definitely isn't bad, but it's not up there with the best of the best either. I couldn't even give this an A-, it's not that great, but it doesn't really deserve anything below a B, so I don't really feel comfortable giving it a C or a C+, so B-, a solid B-. Episode 2, Diversity Day. After corporate discovers Michael's use of inappropriate jokes, they send a sensitivity trainer. But when Michael doesn't want to listen to the sensitivity trainer, he sets up his own sensitivity workshop. Fun fact, Larry Wilmore said on the Office Ladies podcast that he still gets stopped on the streets to take pictures with people because they are fans of Mr. Brown. For context, he only appeared in 1 episode very early on in the show. Diversity Day has some of the best gags in the entire series. From Michael telling everyone to name a race that they are sexually attracted to his Chris Rock impression, to his diversity video, this episode is amazingly funny.
Abraham Lincoln once said that if you're a racist, I will attack you with the North. And those are the principles that I carry with me in the workplace.
We also learned about Michael's hatred towards Toby, and a lot more about the other characters. It's one of the most rewatchable, quotable.
You want to get high?
No.
I think you do, Mon.
and downright hilarious episodes in the whole series. There is a downside to this episode. The edgelord humor is way over the top.
You'll notice I didn't have anybody be an Arab. I thought that would be too explosive. No pun intended.
I can understand how the dislike of the extremely toxic jokes can turn someone off from the show, and I just hate that this is episode 2. Episode 1 was super boring, and this episode has a completely different tone than the rest of the show. Definitely do not start with this one. But if you love the humor of shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, then you will love this episode. But if you don't like that show and find that type of humor uncomfortable, stay far away from this one. I do love this episode. It deserves an A-. Episode 3. Healthcare. Michael passes off his responsibility of picking a new healthcare plan to Dwight. Fun fact, Dwight claims in this episode that he has never been sick due to his perfect immune system. However, in later episodes, it is revealed that he once had walking pneumonia, that he has had a history of kidney stones, and also he has had sinus infections. While objectively funny and well made, Healthcare doesn't have that special spark that would allow me to consider it a great episode. I love this episode, and it does make me laugh a ton.
So, you just need to pick a provider and then choose the cheapest plan.
Well, that is a kind of a tough assignment. It's not going to be a popular decision around the old orifice.
So...
But it is definitely not in my top 10 episodes of all time. I consider an episode good when it has either an equal amount of hilarious comedy and progress on the story and character development, or it is so funny that character doesn't matter, or the story gets moved along so much that it doesn't have time for comedy, so the comedy doesn't really matter. Most episodes from Season 1 don't have that. You could almost call this one a filler episode, although I hate using that term. Don't get me wrong, this episode is super funny, but it doesn't have those sweet character moments that just make an episode. It is a great episode though, and the comedy is there for sure.
In the wild, there is no healthcare. In the wild, healthcare is, ow, I hurt my leg, I can't run, a lion eats me, and I'm dead.
And I do highly recommend it, but this one also only gets an A-. Episode 4. The Alliance. Jim jokingly forms an alliance with Dwight after rumors of downsizing come about. Fun fact, the Dundies are mentioned for the first time in this episode. The episode The Dundies isn't until next season. The Alliance is another episode of The Office that is objectively well made and funny, but again, it does not have that spark that would make it great. Compared to Season 8, of course, this episode is brilliant, but the fact that this is a 6-episode season, and this is one of those episodes, along with little to no plot progression or character development, is kinda disappointing. Although that isn't what an episode needs to be amazing, the comedy isn't quite there. This episode has a few good gags, like this.
What? Oh my gosh! That ties in perfectly with something that Michael was telling me earlier. I just don't know what some of the people in, like, accounting are gonna do. It said specifically that...
After just coming off of super funny episodes like Healthcare, and a great episode like Diversity Day, this is another well-made but slightly disappointing episode. The Alliance isn't really even rewatchable either. A lot of the jokes in here are just, you see it once, and you get it, and are over it. In episodes like Diversity Day, there are gags upon gags. There are so many jokes that, oftentimes, you're actually laughing through them, or don't remember them, but they are still funny, which justifies many rewatches. When I was rewatching this episode for the video, I had to watch it twice, and I didn't really laugh at all because I've seen it so many times prior and I was just kinda bored. There's nothing all that special about going through the motions with this episode. I can't say that it's bad though. As I mentioned earlier, there are definitely great jokes and laugh-out-loud moments.
This is gonna be perfect, okay? Centrally located, perfect cover. I can hear and see everything.
Good. Wait, this isn't gonna work. The lid's open.
So tape it down. I can't do that. Then you won't be able to breathe. Look, I can breathe just fine, okay? But if it makes you feel better, I'll poke holes in the box.
It just doesn't have that special spark found in many other episodes. I don't mind it when it's on though, it's perfectly fine, it's just not the best. This episode is a strong, solid C+ for me.
having to spend each day the color of the leaves. When I think it could be nicer, be red or yellow.
Basketball. It's the office versus the warehouse in a friendly little game of basketball. Fun fact, at least 2 of the scenes in this episode are in the opening sequence. Ryan holding his bag up, and Dwight flipping his tie over his shoulder. A push is my highest rating, and that's what this episode gets. This episode is comedy gold. This completely makes up for the previous 2. This episode is one of my favorites of the whole show. I have seen this episode so many times. So many times! And it's still hilarious.
When I am playing hoops, all of the stress and responsibility of my job here just melts away. It's gone. I'm in the zone. Who am I? Am I Michael Scott? I don't know. I might just be a basketball machine.
This is what I show people who are trying to get into the office. This episode is amazing. The jokes and gags are great. The character interactions are amazing. There isn't much character development, sure, but the comedy is so good that doesn't matter. If you have Netflix and haven't seen this yet, what are you doing? Turn this off and watch it now! A plus. Hot Girl. When an attractive bag saleswoman comes into the office, Michael and Dwight compete for her attention. Fun fact, John Krasinski and Jenna Fisher improvised Jim and Pam's narration of Dwight's purchase. Rainn Wilson made Dwight do strange things in order to provide them things to narrate. This episode is one that I have a hard time grading. When I was rewatching Hot Girl for this video, I had trouble explaining exactly how I felt after. It is a great episode, sure, and the comedy is stellar.
The Purse Girl hits everything on my checklist. Creamy skin, straight teeth, curly hair, amazing breasts. Not for me, for my children. The Schrutes produce very thirsty babies.
And there are plenty of awesome character moments. This has one of the best endings in the entire series. But this is a very early episode, and I would be stretching if I called this one of my favorites. Basketball is also an early episode, yeah, but that one is so funny that it is, quite possibly, my favorite of the whole show. This episode is great, so I can't give it a B or a B+, but I cannot call it amazing. I love going through the motions with this one. I love the storyline and the tone of the episode. It feels like after the basketball episode, the writers really found their footing. I also can't give this one an A+ or an A+++++++. It isn't that outstanding. This is absolutely an underappreciated episode because I think this one gets outshined by the previous episode and the next one too. Think of this episode as if it were in a sandwich. For the bread, you have the fancy gold leaf bread that sells for $120 a pound. Yes, that's real. But in between, you have lunch meat, grocery store ham, salami, turkey, etc. Perfectly fine on its own. It can't possibly live up to the $120 bread that's on the sandwich though. And that is exactly how I would describe my feelings toward this episode. Grocery store meat in between $120 bread. This episode is fine, even great. Definitely see this one if you haven't yet. But it just isn't as good as the others. This episode gets a solid A. Underappreciated and underrated, but for a reason. I might have to make a separate video on this episode. And that is every episode of The Office Season 1 reviewed. Let's review the season as a whole. This season is the first season, so it's not going to be the best. Yes, there are great episodes like Basketball, but then there are episodes like The Alliance where, yes, I appreciate them, they're not very good. They're just kind of boring. A misconception I had while starting this rewatch of the series is that I thought it was going to get gradually good. I thought Season 1 was going to be boring and kind of lame, but it was really fun and funny. Basketball is hilarious, and I highly recommend anybody who's trying to get into The Office to watch that one first. It's really where The Office feels like The Office. The pilot episode is a redo of the British pilot, and Diversity Day has a completely different tone than the rest of the show. Do not start with Diversity Day unless you're a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Alliance, while I can say is objectively good, just doesn't appeal to me personally. Diversity Day might not appeal to you personally. There are a lot of things that are either hit or miss with Season 1 of the show. You either love it or you don't. That's the main thing about this season. It is a very acquired taste. While the later seasons have a more broad appeal, this season is really slow and dry and awkward. I can understand how someone wouldn't want to continue watching the show based off this season. But I do appreciate this season. Something I noticed in this season is they rarely ever leave the office. Aside from healthcare when Michael is trying to decide on his surprise, I don't think they ever left the office in the whole 6-episode run of the season. So, what grade do I give this season? While some episodes are really, really good, there's a lot of A- and B material. There's one episode that got my highest rating, but no episode got an A+, oddly enough. I think I would give this season a B+. I can't give it anything below a C because that would mean I can go without it. And I can't go without this season. Basketball is hilarious. While some episodes are take it or leave it, there's some that are essential viewing. While this is the beginning of the show and the writers haven't really discovered what they were trying to do with the series yet, I can still appreciate it. B+. This video took 2 whole weeks to make. I wrote it out in 1 week, and then I filmed an episode for every day. I wore the same shirt every day just for this video. You can probably tell because I look kind of gross. What day is it? Sunday. It's Sunday right now. So it took me quite a while to make this video. I started it last Monday? I think I started it last Monday. This was quite the journey. I have some special thanks to give though. Special thanks to my brother for helping me with the camera stuff, Dunderpedia for giving me the fun facts and the descriptions of the episode. I'm not officially affiliated with them, but I did use that website a ton, and it helped me a lot. So here we are. What am I going to do for Season 2? Well, it might take a while. Season 2 has 20-something episodes, and this took 2 weeks for 6 episodes, so that's going to take a while. So my next video is going to be probably how different is Parks and Rec from The Office, because that's a topic I see brought up a bunch. But some videos to look forward to. After I complete these season reviews, after I complete Season 9, I might start a Parks and Rec series, I don't know. But I'm also, in between these, I'm going to be reviewing different kinds of sitcoms. And I'm also going to be throwing in editorials there, like a Jim and Pam relationship timeline. That's going to be after I finish Season 9. I'm going to have the evolution of Kevin from going from kind of stupid to really stupid. I'm going to have every time Jim pranks Dwight, like a Jim versus Dwight kind of video. That's a lot to look forward to. So my next video, how different is Parks and Rec from The Office, that's going to be in a while. Every episode, Season 2, probably not going to be for a while. I'm going to be working on it. But if I really, really work on it like I'm doing this, I could get it done in a month, probably. But I don't know if I'm going to work that hard on it, because this was really hard. And I will catch you on the flippity flop.